I'm Peter from A&P-Reacts. I'm here today with Tonya and Cody of Lydias Castle to talk about, well, you guys guessed it, Lydias Castle. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great. Thanks for having us here.
Well, thank you for taking the time. So let's start from the beginning. Where did the idea for the band start to brew? How did it all come together?
We've in the beginning stages of the lockdowns, we weren't doing anything, so we looked at each other and we're like, all right, I guess we're gonna write some music. And that was kind of how it started. We just started writing songs and not really knowing if it was going to work out or not. But here we are. It's as simple as that, really.
Did you think that just starting to write some songs and put some stuff together would eventually lead you guys to where you are now? Like, you've released 3 singles. I know there's an EP in the horizon. Did it all started with that goal in mind, or at the beginning was more just for fun and to fill in the time?
You want to answer that?
Yeah, I think like the EP was, the way the music kind of came about was during the COVID lockdown. Cody and I, we had always had separate projects at the time, but we were like, hey, we have nothing better to do than to sit down and write together. So during the lockdown, we ended up, writing 20, 30 songs together. And then, once the shelter in places started to lift, we were like, hey, you want to go ahead and find some other band members to play with. And then we just started putting our music out there. We came across John Wysocki, who played in Stain and Soil and Save the World. He loved the music, wanted to write with us as well. And that's kind of how the whole writing of the music of the EP kind of came about. Was it first started with Cody and I, then John came in.
Well, what musical influences do you guys have that for the listener is easy to detect or easy to see in the music that you guys are now creating?
Well, I grew up on the 80s, so you can probably hear a little bit of that. But anything that's just rock and roll. I mean, anything from Hendrix to Ozzy with Randy Rhoads to whoever, it's the influences are all over the place.
You guys are from Nashville. Is that a blessing or a curse? I mean, it's a rock city, it's a music city. There's a lot of stuff happening there. So do you guys see that as an opportunity for the music that you guys are creating now, or do you see that as a challenge?
I do. I see it as a benefit. I just think you have to be strategic about it. If you play in a city that is considered Music City and you want to be an original band and think that playing every month will help you, I can see that as something that can tarnish you, because you have 100 other shows going on. So as long as you're really strategic about when you play, where you play, how you play, who you play with, I think that it can be a successful place.
Is the scene there, how can I put it? Are the bands there that are in the same boat as you guys? Do you guys rely on each other, or there's a sense of individuality when it comes to the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I think that as far as like the scene here, I don't really know if like there's another band that particularly sounds like us. There's another rock band called True Villains here. They have their own sound. I think everyone kind of has their own sound, but everyone here is so willing to help each other. Even though this is known as like country music city, there's a reggae scene, there's a rock scene, and you'll find musicians going to all different kinds of shows because they just genuinely love music.
Mm-hmm. With a recent single, let's talk a little bit about Search for You. First of all, I want to ask you about not just the title of the track, but the lyrics on that track. Where is that song? Where's the deep roots of where that song is coming from?
Yeah, so Search for You, sometimes let me back up. This song started with a vocal melody. Then Cody put guitars over it, and then it kind of flourished from there. But sometimes when I write lyrics, I don't actually know if I'm writing about a particular topic or anything in mind. It's just sometimes words that just kind of come out. And then I found as I was like writing these words down that, I was writing about, my daughter Lydia. So the song formed around Cody and I lost our daughter about a week before my due date when I was pregnant, and her name was Lydia. And so the song really talks about searching for somebody in another life and just how sometimes times aren't right and the stars aren't aligned, but it's about searching for them, reuniting with them, kind of.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear about that. I honestly don't have any words to say. Like, it's such a difficult thing. I've gone through something similar to that, so I can somewhat relate to it, and it's like, just my heart goes out to both of you, and I'm glad that you're able to turn something like that into something positive, like the music that you're now creating. Now, when you have a song like this that has that kind of emotional backdrop, does it help you when you're singing that song, when you're performing that song? Does it help you find perhaps a little bit of inner peace in it?
I think it does, because one of the things that is my goal in being in Lydias Castle is to shed light on that topic so that women and men who go through it, they don't feel like they're alone. And I feel like the song itself, and just how the dynamics of the vocals go from soft to melodic, and then it's like almost like somebody is screaming at the end. And I really feel like those are like the stages of grief that people go through. And so in creating the song Search for You and creating the music video, it was just a way for us to bring awareness to those who go through miscarriages or stillbirths, or have lost a loved one in general, and searching for them in another life.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. For those that are discovering the band with this single, what can you say about what that song represents in terms of what the rest of the band sound and the essence of the band and the lyrical content? Is this song a full representation of what Lydias Castle is all about?
I think that Lydias Castle, I don't know if the song represents what the whole band is about, because each one of our songs is very different and talks about different things. But I will say that the band in general is just about being a light for people, to show people that you're not alone. There's these hard things you go through, but you can build yourself and build your castle like we built Lydia's Castle through hard times and situations that we went through. So it's a beacon of hope for people. I hope when they see, I'm not saying that what we went through, any kind of hard time, is going to be easy to overcome, but if you keep your head above water and you keep trying, it does get easier.
Just talking to you guys is magnificent. I mean, like, this story, I'm speechless, honestly. Like, this is really touching. It's touching me right now. So I'm getting emotional. This is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for building this castle. It's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing. What's the feedback been for the single? The video is phenomenal. I absolutely love the music video. What kind of feedback have you guys received?
The feedback I've gotten was that sometimes the industry is almost very hesitant to talk about or film real life events of things people go through. And the music video, it shows somebody struggling with bills. It shows somebody, proposing and, announcing their pregnancy, and then a loss, and then cancer. And, I think that the one thing I've received feedback wise is thank you for talking about real things and for showing a real human side to doing music. Not everything is rainbows and butterflies. And I think people can relate because everybody has lost somebody.
That's one thing everybody has in common.
Yeah.
It's definitely that sense of loss. There's nobody that has never experienced it to a certain degree or another. Is the journey that you guys are going to create with your music one that's going to create that light at the end of the tunnel for your listeners?
I hope so. I hope that I continue to write about real, tangible things, that's staying true to me and staying true to, things I've gone through in my life. And sometimes I feel like in life, if we were to just talk about the things we went through and to share that knowledge with people, maybe it doesn't have to be so hard for somebody else, so I'm going to keep writing about real things and keep talking and bringing awareness to real topics. And I hope that people do listen to it and find a light. And I hope that's the main goal for me as a lyricist, is if I can help one person get through with something and be a hope for somebody and help them, I feel like I've done my job, like at the end of the day.
You mentioned earlier about the lyrical content, that, how you write and the way you approach it. A lot of bands create the music first and then the lyrics come after. I see that you write a lot of lyrics and then perhaps you try to match it to the music. Is that how it works with you?
Yeah, I have like over 500 voice memos in my phone. And it just kind of starts with a melody and a whole bunch of gibberish. And then I count the syllables, write the syllables down per line on a piece of paper. And then I just go in and fill it in with words to match the vocal melody that I created out of complete gibberish, literally. And that's kind of like the structure to writing the lyrics.
So as far as lyrical content, there's no lacking.
No. I don't think so. Sometimes I feel like I'm like, okay, maybe I have too much to say and I need to wind it down a little.
Does it become a little bit of a diary for you, that you write this stuff down, but now you're actually getting to share your diary with your listeners?
It is, I not to sound like a wuss in rock and roll, but
Listen, I'm almost crying here. So like, seriously, like, who's the wuss? Like a grown ass man here crying. So.
I cried the release date for Search for You. That was such a personal story to share. And the emotion in it and the lyrics and how it's sung it's real. It's not, this isn't television, it's a real thing. And, so I think and hope people can relate to it, but it's definitely real.
Yeah, I think it's empowering what you're doing, because you're exposing a side of you that, normal like us wouldn't get to see on a regular basis. So we get to find a little bit more about you guys through your own music, and we get to see what's behind the veil, which, like you said about rock and roll or music in general, is not always the case with artists.
Right. And I think as long as like you're just writing about real things, people want music they can connect with. And why write something that's forced? Like, write things that you've gone through. There's somebody else who has gone through it as well. I'll remember the one advice my dad always gave me. He said, there's nothing that you can even think about doing or haven't already tried doing that I didn't do myself. And it's kind of true with, like, in life, there's situations, you're not the only one going through that one thing, And
there's power in numbers. I mean, if you feel like there's somebody there that can be there for you, that's empowering as well. When it comes to the musical side of the band, what do you hope you guys bring to the table musically that perhaps will help you set apart from other bands that are trying to do, or they're currently doing something within the same neighborhood?
Man, I hope that we just mature songwriting wise. I don't know if I really have a specific goal in mind. I mean, I think it's kind of just wherever the wind blows.
Sure.
I mean, it's not really a good answer, but that's the answer I have. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of different influences. We all listen to a lot of different music, and we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves by any means. We don't want to be stuck writing the same type of music for however long this band will go on for, hopefully years and years and years. I want to be a band that's diverse. I want to try new things. So whatever that may be, whether it's, some electronic drums here and there, whatever, I don't know. John has talked about doing that too. So it's a lot of ideas being floated around. I don't really know what we're going to do next, but
the thing with the EP currently that's out is that music is just what kind of came out of us. Yeah. Nothing is ever like forced. We've had songs like What Comes Around, where it started with John's drum beat, falling into place started with Cody's, guitar riff. Search for You started with a vocal melody. And there's really the reason that all songs are different is because they all started differently with different ideas. And so who really knows where the next EP will go? It just, no one knows.
I would like to try to incorporate maybe some keys or something.
Keys
and,
would be cool. Yeah.
Subtly. Who knows? I have no idea. I don't know. I would like to just think outside the box and try to find our sound. I think we have a sound, but I think it's only going to, change and develop and mature as we go along.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a very organic process. Like you said, whatever the wind blows is where you guys are going to go with it.
Yeah, if we find a place for a sitar to be on a track, then I'm going to play a sitar. I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
That might be a little bit of a hard thing to do. Like, finding a place for a sitar on a track is not necessarily easy.
No, it's not, but I'm going to try.
When it comes to the guitar sound on these tracks, on the band itself, do you have a signature sound that you want to establish, or are you going to take the same approach overall that you were taking with how the band is moving and what the direction the band is going?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the sound, it sounds cliche, but the sound that I go for is just whatever comes out of my hands.
Yeah.
I think that I naturally sound like people that I listen to. Like, I'm a big fan of Slash and Randy Rhoads and those types of guys. And I think that in some of the playing that I've done on this EP, you'll be able to tell that. Right. But I don't say, I want to be just like Kirk Hammett or whoever, you know what I mean? I don't go out of my way to try to do any particular sound. I just play the way that I play. So I think no matter what we try in the future, I mean, that sound is always going to come out. I play like me. I wrote it, it's going to sound like me, or it's going to sound like Tonya, no matter what we do.
Right. It's just going to develop.
It's
going to be new rhythms and
I definitely want to get more groove heavy for sure. I want to focus more on the groove of the songs. Get something that like keeps your head moving and all that stuff, which naturally happens. But I definitely want to put more emphasis on focusing on that.
Right.
One last question for you guys, and that is, I know that you're telling me that the band moves in a very organic way, but I think it's impossible for you guys not to start looking forward into the future. So are you guys starting to think about a full-length record, or are you guys starting to make some plans? Do you guys have a vision board where you put some things down that you want to achieve?
We have a vision cloud. Well, you do. Yeah. As far as the full length, we would love to do a full length record. I don't think that's really in the cards for us right now. I think we're going to move with the times and
it's a singles world, like
singles world EP. Well, I would still love to do a full length album regardless, but I think we would just need to be on a higher level for that to make sense. But until then, we're still going to put out these mini albums, these little these EPs and collection of songs until it develops into something else.
Well, I hope you guys keep doing what you're doing, because it's really interesting to listen to, and it's fun. And I love what you guys are doing. I love the sound. I love the lyrical content. I'm really big on the lyrical side of things. That's one of the things that I connect with music the most, is the lyrical content. So it's just something like the poetry within the music is a beautiful thing. So keep doing what you guys are doing. It's definitely touching. It touched me. So I really feel like blessed to even have the opportunity to sit with you guys and pick your brain a little bit. So thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you for having us. And if any of your viewers want to hear anything more about Lydias Castle, they can go to lydiascastle.com. All of our social links are on there: tour dates, tickets, merch, music videos, pretty much anything that you're looking for.
Anything and everything.
It is a one-stop shop. So
thank you. I'll put a link in the description of the video to make life easier for everybody.
There we go.
There we go.
So that way they can just click on the link and they can go and find out everything that they need to find out about you guys.
Yep.
We would love that. Yes. Right. Thank you for having us on. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you for taking the time. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.